Namaskaram. Welcome to day 42 of the SaveSoil journey. So today we had a AMA with Sadhguru on Twitter. I hope you were able to make use of the same. If not, you can check out some of the questions that were asked and his replies on Sadhguru's Twitter handle. So it's available for everyone to see. It was nice and engaging, and some of these questions you may have also have in your mind. So it's good to check them out, and hope all of you are continuing to share. And if you relate to any of these questions, you can even retweet them. So let's continue to do that. We have still a long way to go, and this is the least which we can do. So yesterday we were looking at Rudraksha, how one can benefit from the same, the different types of Rudraksha which are available. So today I thought I'll spend some time in looking at some do's and don'ts and a few other common queries which we get respect to Rudraksha. So first of all, one of the things which we need to do as soon as we get a Rudraksha is to condition it. Conditioning is something which is a process which needs to be done every 6 months, and this extends or enhances the life of the Rudraksha. It is not done to consecrate or energize the Rudraksha. The Rudraksha is already energized, and if you're buying it from a reliable source like Isha, it is also consecrated. So it is not something which re-energizes the Rudraksha. It is just something which is done to enhance or extend the life of the Rudraksha, because after some time the Rudraksha may tend to become brittle and it may break. So this helps in extending the life. So how you do this conditioning process is that you soak the Rudraksha. If you are having a single bead Rudraksha, you can do that, or if you're having a mala, you can soak the full mala. You can soak it in ghee or clarified butter for 24 hours. Then you remove that, and immediately you put it in full fat milk for an additional 24 hours. So make sure you don't boil the milk. So you can just use full fat milk without boiling, and see that the mala or Rudraksha is fully immersed, and place it for 24 hours. So this is the conditioning process: 24 hours in ghee, and immediately after that 24 hours in milk, unboiled milk, full fat milk. So don't reverse the order, it should be done in the same way. And once that is done, then you can remove the Rudraksha mala, just rinse it with plain water, and then wipe it with a clean cloth, and then you can wear it. So this process needs to be repeated every 6 months. This will extend the life of the Rudraksha. So when you do this conditioning process, it's very important that you use natural vessels, since the Rudraksha is made from a natural material. So as we were looking at yesterday, so this Rudraksha is coming from a certain tree, and this is actually called as the tears of Shiva. There's a certain story like behind it, like when Shiva was sitting in deep meditation, and he was just sitting still, unmoving, and there was nothing which was he was not uttering anything, and he was in such states of ecstasy that only his teardrops were falling, and these teardrops, when they fell on earth, they became this Rudraksha. So it's like it's considered as Shiva's teardrops, Rudraksha. So it's considered very sacred. So this is a natural seed. So when you place this, you can take care to see that you don't place it in some source which is not natural. For example, if you want to place it in a container or in a bowl to do the conditioning process, which is immersing it in ghee and unboiled milk, then you can use something like a wooden bowl, or you can use a mud bowl or a glass bowl, or even gold or silver if you have. So you can use any of these natural materials. Avoid using plastic. Don't use plastic for conditioning, and even for storing, or any other metal. Don't use any other metal like steel, etc. For the Rudraksha should not touch any metal like that. So except silver, copper, or gold, these are fine. So but don't use copper for conditioning, because if you place the ghee and milk, etc., so it can get oxidized. So you can store Rudraksha in a copper vessel, but don't use it for conditioning. For conditioning, you can use either gold, silver, wooden bowls, or mud bowls, or glass bowls. So any of these things you can use for conditioning the Rudraksha, and you can repeat this process every 6 months. So Another thing which you can do is you can also soak it in sesame oil or gingerly oil. So gingerly oil, if you soak it once in about 1 or 2 years, that will also help. So that is also something which can be done for conditioning. So apart from this the ghee and milk process, you can also once in a year or once in 2 years, you can even put it in sesame oil for 24 hours, in gingerly oil for 24 hours, and then remove it, and then and you can wear the Rudraksha. So this is something you can do for the conditioning process. Now any Rudraksha which you have, so this is something which you can take care, and this will enhance the life of the Rudraksha. Apart from this, if you are wearing the Rudraksha, it is very important that you take certain care. For example, you should ensure that you don't wash it with warm water, or if you're taking a bath with warm water, then you should not wear the Rudraksha. Ideally, it's suggested not to wear Rudraksha if you're taking a warm water bath, or if you're having bath with chemicals. For example, if you're using soap which has chemicals, or shampoos etc. which have chemicals, then it is best you can remove the Rudraksha during that time. But if you are having a bath with natural materials, for example, if you are using this snanam podi or snanam powder, or herbal bath powder, or something else which is herbal which doesn't have chemicals, then you can still keep the Rudraksha on while having a bath as well. And it is good if the water from, especially if you're taking a cold water bath, you can keep the Rudraksha on and let the water from the Rudraksha fall on your body. That will be good for the system as well, for the skin. So that's perfectly fine. But otherwise, you can remove the Rudraksha. And when you're removing the Rudraksha, it's best you take care in terms of where to place it. You can either place it in a silk cloth, that's best, or in a natural cloth which is made from a natural fiber, or in a copper container also you can place the Rudraksha. So don't place it anywhere on the ground or somewhere else. So that's something which is very important, because the Rudraksha, if it is placed in places, for example, let's say you take the Rudraksha and you place it in a cement floor, and if that continues to be there on the cement floor for, let's say, more than a mandala, 40 to 48 days, then the Rudraksha loses its vibrancy. Then it should be discarded, it should not be used. So you should take care in terms of where you're placing the Rudraksha. So this is something which needs care in terms of how you place it. So in case it happens that when you're wearing the Rudraksha, there is a broken bead or something, because these beads sometimes, if they're not maintained properly, if they're not kept properly, some of them may crack, or due to pressure also it may crack. So if you find a bead which is cracked, then it's best you don't wear that. You remove that bead from the mala. If it has many other beads, and only if 1 or 2 beads are cracked, then you can remove those beads, because otherwise it will disturb the flow of energy in the system. So you can remove those beads, and you can restring the Rudraksha. So that's possible to do. There's a way to restring the Rudraksha as well. So it's best you remove those beads which are broken or which have become brittle, and then restring it, and it should have the bindu as well. Any of those beads can be made of bindu. Yesterday we were looking at how if you're wearing a Rudraksha mala for adults, minimum 84 beads should be there plus 1 bindu. So generally that's how the number of beads in the Rudraksha are kept. So that's minimum 84 beads. So if at all, if the Rudraksha, as we said, if it gets damaged a few beads, then you can dispose it off properly. For example, what you can do is you can bury it in wet soil, or you can offer it to a water body like a river or a well. So that's something which you can do. Don't just throw it somewhere else. It's you can take care in terms of how you dispose it as well. So if it is broken or if it's become brittle. So that's regarding the maintenance part. And also Rudraksha is not something which you should wear like jewelry, that whenever you want you'll wear it, and whenever you want you'll remove it. So it is best that you keep the Rudraksha on. It should become like a part of you. Except if you're taking a warm water bath or using chemicals, you can keep the Rudraksha on 24 hours even while sleeping. Or maybe if you're doing your practices, if it's like a hindrance, especially if you're doing some asanas, at that point of time, maybe if needed, you can just remove it and keep it in a natural cloth or a copper container, and take care of it to wear it immediately after that. But if you're doing kriyas or meditation, then there's no need to remove it at all. It's only if you're doing asanas, especially inverted asanas, and if it's creating disturbance, then at that point of time you can remove it. But otherwise, Rudraksha should be on throughout. And as we looked at yesterday, it enhances your aura, etc. So this is something which should become a part of you. You should not keep removing it and wear it casually whenever you feel like wearing it and not wearing it. Otherwise, it's best you see if you can keep it on throughout. And it doesn't matter what your diet is, or for women if they are menstruating or they're pregnant. So these things are not they don't have any this is not a constraint for wearing Rudraksha, whether you're a non-vegetarian or whatever else. So Rudraksha, for these things, wearing a Rudraksha is not a constraint, so you can keep it on throughout. Okay, few more things, just let me look if there's anything which I missed out. Yeah, another thing which we can do is avoid sharing the Rudraksha. So this is not something which you should share with others. So suppose you are wearing a Rudraksha, it is not something you should share with other family members. So this is something which is which you should not allow anyone else to even touch actually. So generally we suggest that if you are wearing a Rudraksha, you should even allow even someone to touch the beads, because these are very sensitive to people's energies. So make sure that only you are using the Rudraksha, and you don't allow anyone else to use. And in case if you're not using it for an extended period of time, then it's best to see you can store it properly, and preferably kept in a puja room or a consecrated space. So that way you can do it, but ensure that this is not something which is shared with other people. If they wish to wear it, then they can get another one for themselves, because this is very personalized and something which interacts with you. It affects your energies. So neither should you wear someone else's Rudraksha if someone has used it, or not you should lend your Rudraksha to anyone to wear. So this is something which you can keep to yourself. Okay, and anything else, let me just see. So we covered about conditioning, and yeah, one more question which we keep getting is what to do with the leftover ghee after conditioning. So if you're conditioning the Rudraksha with the ghee, one of the things which you can do with the leftover ghee is you can use it as you can use it in oils, you can use it in lamps, so that is something you can use. You can use it to light the lamp. So that's something which is good, because ghee or any other natural oils like gingerly oil, etc., are good for lamps. So we already looked at how lighting an oil lamp can be beneficial. So you can use it for the lamp, or otherwise you can keep the ghee and you can even use it next time for conditioning. That's also something which you can do. So that's something which you can make use of, but don't use it for cooking. Okay, that's something you should not do. So once you use the ghee for conditioning, don't use it for cooking. You can either use it in the lamp, or you can keep it so that you can even use it for the next time. So that's something which you can do. So apart from this, if you have any other questions, what I'll do is I'll also share a link with you in the description, which has a detailed guide about Rudraksha from Isha Life, in terms of things to take care, how to condition, how to make sure that it's stored in the proper place, and which kind of Rudrakshas are suitable for you, how to string a Rudraksha. So all these things, I'll share a link with you that could also serve as a quick reference guide for you whenever you want to look at it. So that's something which you can do. And if there are any other questions about Rudraksha, you can let us know, and we'll see how to if we can address them. So hope this is something which has been useful for you, and I think many of us were able to make use of the Rudraksha Diksha, which happens every year in Mahashivratri. So this was an opportunity to get Rudraksha free, and something which has been consecrated, which has been adorned on the Adi Yogi statue in Isha Center, and these Rudraksha are then kind of shipped to people across. So this is something, if you have been wearing that, so I've been wearing this Rudraksha, which came through this Rudraksha Diksha. So if you have been wearing that, please see how you can take care of it. And even if you have people who are not doing any yoga practices, even they can make use of it. So right now I don't think you can order, but maybe you can wait till Mahashivratri, and if they do it again, you can place your order for the same, and it goes through a certain consecration and initiation process. You can take care of it. So along with that, they will give you some instructions as well, and even maybe an Abhaya Sutra, which is like a black thread which can be worn on the wrist. And they will also give you Vibhuti. We already looked at about Vibhuti, how one can benefit from the same. So hope you are able to make use of the same. They have also given a Diksha or a practice. They have given a practice, a daily practice which you can do along with the Rudraksha, so which involves some chanting process. So please see if you can even make use of the same if you have been initiated into Rudraksha Diksha. So you can continue the daily sadhana. Even if you have elders at home who got initiated, please see if you can continue the practice. That's something, it is one of the simplest ways to have a touch of yoga or spirituality in your life. So please see if you can make use of the same. So do share with us your experience, and if you have any questions about Rudraksha. We'll meet you tomorrow. Namaskar.